trading session. But one stock which is actually outperforming after a big cut that we saw earlier is IOL Chemicals. It's trading in the green. Sanjay Chaturvedi, the CEO of the company, joins us now. Mr. Chaturvedi, first up, if you could tell us, what are the prices at which Ibuprofen is trading? You had earlier indicated it could rise to as high as $20 per kg. But what is it currently, and what is your realization capped at with the long-term contracts that you have?
So currently, Ibuprofen prices are trading in the $12 range. $11 to $12 is where it is, and we do anticipate that this pricing will continue for the foreseeable future. I think the pricing has really bottomed out, and going forward, we will be running our, we see increase in demand versus the last quarter. So we do think that as far as our asset utilization is concerned, on the Ibuprofen front, we will be running this business at 70% plus asset utilization.
Okay, Mr. Chaturvedi, in Q2, something that the street did not like was margins. Margins dipped to single digits versus the high margins that you had been working on. Will it take some time before you get back to those high double-digit number? What is the outlook as far as margins are concerned?
Okay, I think let me look at the reasons why the margins dipped. There were two reasons. One was there was a softening both in prices, there was a softening in volumes, and the final thing that hit us really in all of this was pricing, volume, and the increase in raw materials. So if you look at our gross margins went down. So what needs to happen is the pricing has to come back to a certain level, and even if the volumes are back, my average manufacturing cost will go down so that the margins come back. Now, coming to what is the time outlook in which we expect the profits to be back up, I think certainly we are very confident that Q3 you will see far better numbers than Q2, and Q4 will improve further. And as far as giving you a guideline in terms of numbers, we are very confident of being in the 15 to 20% EBIT range for both the quarters.
Right. We're talking about a new variant of COVID right now in the world. At the same time, there is a fresh rise in cases that we're seeing in Europe. In what manner does that impact your business, if at all?
So, right now I would say it's too early to comment because we still don't know how infectious this particular variant is. All that we know is that this particular variant has about 30 mutations on the virus. Given that a lot of people are now vaccinated, what will be the impact of the vaccines that have already been administered on this variant? The body will develop some kind of natural immunity. I don't expect that if there is a third wave, it will be as bad as the second wave. It's still very early days to kind of comment on what new variant on the overall pharma business. But I will say this, the pharma industry over the last 2 years has shown tremendous resilience and tremendous resolve, no matter what challenge is thrown at them. So I'm very confident that it's not just for one company, but as an industry, we will rise to the challenge and really overcome this.
That's the hope, Mr. Chaturvedi, that it is not as bad as what we saw earlier. Last question before we let you go about your non-pharmaceuticals business. What is the outlook on ethyl acetate prices? Because we have seen them increasing, but despite that, chemical business margins were lower. So what is the outlook on this particular segment?
Okay, so on the non-ibuprofen, there are two parts I will talk about. One is the ethyl acetate, which is the chemicals part, and then I will talk about the non-ibuprofen API segment. On the ethyl acetate, while the pricing was up, what really drove that pricing up was a steep rise in the raw material pricing. And that's really what impacted the profit margins. This quarter, the prices are certainly lower than what they were, and the raw material prices have also eased off. So we expect better profitability on the chemicals business, which is primarily ethyl acetate for us. Talking about the non-ibuprofen API business, last year, for the full year, we had done just shy of 200 crores in the non-ibuprofen APIs. This year, in the first 6 months, we've done almost 150 crores of non-ibuprofen API business, which is great news for us as well as the investors.
All right, Mr. Chaturvedi, thank you so much for joining us, giving us all those details. Margins, the band of 15 to 20%. You believe the worst of the raw material inflation is behind you. Going ahead, ibuprofen will sustain at around $12 per kg, and we're looking at that as well, so long as the new COVID wave does not impact your business. With that, we're out of time on this edition of Midcap Radar. The markets do not look particularly